right, welcome to the December 5th, 2022 meeting of the Rules Committee. It looks like we have a quorum here. Would we please take the roll?
Councilmember Kelly. Here. Councilmember Harris. Councilmember Nguyen. Councilmember Nusma.
Here.
Councilmember Burns. Councilmember Suffredin.
Here.
Councilmember Ravel.
Here.
Okay. Councilmember Reed. Councilmember Harris.
Yep.
Mayor Biss.
Here.
Now that we have quorum and we're ready to do our business, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
I don't think so.
Okay. We are double checking to see if we have anyone signed up for public comment. Is there anyone signed up online? Nope. No public comment today. So we're ready to move on to our agenda. Would someone move to the meeting minutes from last?
I move for the approval of the meeting minutes from the October 3rd meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
But there were no minutes in the packet. It was just the agenda.
I saw minutes, page 4. All right. Oh, no, actually, that was the agenda, but not,
Oh, it should have said minutes, yeah.
but not minutes.
I'd like to withdraw my motion for approval of non-existent minutes at the moment.
Council Cummings, can we table this item and move forward on the agenda?
It would definitely have to get approved at the next meeting, like absolutely. So, yes, but it would have to, at the next Rules Committee meeting, they would have to be on the agenda.
Okay. Would anyone move to table the minutes from last meeting?
The motion has been withdrawn, so we can just move forward.
Okay, next item on the agenda.
I will move item R1, proposed 2023 Rules Committee meeting schedule.
Thank you. Anyone second?
I'll second.
And do we have any discussion? I will bring this up. It was brought to my attention that there was an item that did not make the agenda, and there is a hope that we could add a meeting in January to address that item. Does anyone?
I will move to amend the proposed 2023 Rules Committee meeting schedule to include a January meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Can we take any
Doing all those
discussion
in favor? Oh.
on? And what I had some clarification
yeah, yeah.
around the date in January.
I think the first Monday is that the 5th?
So that's the recognized New Year's holiday, I believe. So
Oh,
it'll be
okay.
the,
Well,
it will
then we
be
can do it
Tuesday the 5th will be the meeting date.
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 3rd?
The 3rd is Tuesday, the first Monday.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so Tuesday the 3rd, yes.
Human services at 5.
So the amendment would be to add a meeting on January 3rd, that Tuesday.
We can do rules after, before.
I think probably do rules first and then human services after.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that's my motion for the 3rd.
I might not be the only one who's out of town that week.
Right.
Two people will be out of town.
Mr. Chair, is this a time-sensitive thing, or could we just push it to the next scheduled meeting?
I don't know, I think that's up for discussion, but if it's, I don't know, how many people are not going to be here for the 3rd?
Yeah, I'm not here the 3rd. I don't know that you have a guaranteed quorum.
Okay, so do we want to withdraw the motion if we're not going to have quorum on that?
Okay, yeah,
Well, the motion was to have a meeting in January.
yeah.
So your alternative dates are the 9th, which is APW and City Council, the 17th, which is the day after Martin Luther King Day, the 23rd, which is APW and City Council, or the 30th of January.
We can shoot for the 17th, if that sounds better to folks.
Is there a pressing need to discuss this item prior to the scheduled, or the proposed February 6th Rules Committee meeting?
I think folks, I don't know, can someone else speak to the pressing nature?
I guess if no one can speak, I don't know what the thing is. I don't know if anybody here knows what the thing is, so maybe it's not that pressing. All right,
Okay, so it looks like we do not have the votes for that.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. Or do we, Or do we take a roll call on the motion?
For the
We can do a
17th.
voice vote.
All right, a voice vote?
Well, on the main motion, correct?
Yes, on the main motion.
And so you just say all those in.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's like the ayes have
Opposed,
it.
abstentions?
And then moving on to approving the meeting minutes with the
You got to ask if anybody's opposed.
opposed. Anyone opposed? Okay. All right.
All right,
Forward.
I will move item R2, Resolution 108R22, amending City Council Rule 9.4 to add additional council members to the Referrals Committee. Or actually, if we may, since the sponsor of that is not here, can we move item D1 first?
He's online.
Oh, he's online. Okay. Well, then I make the motion. I move Resolution 108R22.
Okay, do we have a second?
Are we sure the sponsor's online?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? Councilmember Reed.
Okay. This was a proposal made by Councilmember Burns to add additional members to the Referrals Committee, so the Referrals Committee is more representative of the city and the body as a whole. I think it makes sense that we should allow folks who would like to be a part of this committee to be a part of the committee, similar to other committees.
Mayor Biss?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I would just strongly oppose passage of this. If there's a concern that the referrals committee isn't adequately representative, there's any number of other ways to address that within the current confines. The point of the referrals committee is to be efficient, ministerial, quick, and I think expanding membership is a clear step in the wrong direction.
We have Councilmember Burns online.
Yeah, I think where we ended up on this, and I don't know if it's a separate item on the agenda, was to create a schedule or rotating schedule of 2 council members along with the mayor. And so I don't know if we should have that as part of this discussion or if that's a separate item on the agenda.
It is currently not on the agenda. It is just the resolution to add the members.
So do we have a schedule prepared? I think at a previous Council or Rules Committee meeting, it was mentioned that there was a schedule being made. Is there a schedule?
No, not in the packet.
Not that I know of.
I think it was Mayor Biss who mentioned that he was working on a schedule for the referrals committee. So can you provide an update on that?
I don't think I mentioned that at all. There was some meeting, I can't remember if it was Rules or Council, where people, oh, sorry.
Mayor Biss?
I don't recall saying that I was working on a schedule for the referrals committee at all. I do recall there was some meeting where that idea was floated, and I vaguely recall that there was talk about it showing up on this agenda tonight. I can't speak to that, but certainly I was not working on a rotation for the referrals committee.
Okay, so my recollection is that the point of holding the kind of related issue at our last council meeting was that we would come here prepared to vote on a schedule that will allow different members to participate, which is one way where we could achieve a more representative body on the referrals committee. And I certainly would support that.
Okay, seeing that there are no other council members who haven't.
Committee Chair, I can't find this is Councilmember Ravel, and I can't find a raise hand signal on my screen for some reason.
Okay.
Could I say a few things?
Yes, please, Councilmember Ravel.
So I guess I'm puzzled by this request to ensure that we have, that we represent different perspectives on the committee. It's, I mean, the whole point of the referrals committee is merely to forward all pending items that come to the referrals committee, to refer them to an appropriate committee to address the issue. We consult with the city manager to determine what other issues are already on the committee agenda and what kind of demands there might be on staff to prepare background material. And so that sort of influences so the timing that we suggest to the committee when we forward it. But all the pending issues get referred. We don't have a backlog of referral items sitting there waiting for us to make up our minds. It took us a little while at the beginning to get a system going, but now we have our referrals committee staff person, Allison, who follows up with the committee where the item's been referred to make sure it's, you know, that the committee chair and the staff for the committee have received the referral and have figured out what agenda, what meeting to put it on the agenda. One suggestion that I would have is, given that the chairs of the committees do rotate, and so oftentimes they're no longer the chair by the time that referral is supposed to be on the agenda. So I think it would be better, it would be helpful if the staff member for the committee would really keep an active list of those pending referrals to make sure they don't get lost. But I'm struggling to see what the problem is that we're trying to solve here by quote broadening the perspectives represented on the committee. It's not really a perspective-driven decision. It's a pretty straightforward administrative decision.
Okay, seeing that there are no other council members requesting to speak for the first time, we're back to Councilmember Reed.
Yeah, thank you. First, actually, I want to address Councilmember Ravel's notes, which, if this committee was, purely, if this committee is purely administrative, I don't really see the point of it. I mean, I think we all, for the most part, understand where a referral needs to go when we make it. We know what committee, as a council member, we would like it to go to. There's mechanisms that we have here legislatively that if anyone wants an item to go to another committee, they can make a motion to refer it to that committee. So if the committee is just administrative, it seems like it's adding unnecessary work that the council members could do. I like the idea of having the list of referrals and a transparent document that lets the public and other council members and whoever else know what's coming down the pike. But it almost seems like if it's just administrative, we should leave that to our administrators. And then to the problem that we're trying to solve is that the committee hasn't been purely administrative. There are decisions made, again, what committee to send it to can influence the outcome of an ordinance. There have been referrals that have been made that have been held at referrals because the referrals committee wasn't prepared to act on an item. And, for example, the burglar's tool ordinance that came by, the referrals committee held that for a while and didn't know what to do with it. And then this council passed it unanimously. The updates to our public nudity ordinance to be more inclusive with gender, that was something that was held at the referrals committee for a while. This council adopted that unanimously. So I think having more diverse members or just more members, what that does is that allows more perspectives, more understanding to come to this committee and can potentially help move things along. But I do want to ask, Mayor Biss, you said there are many other options if we're looking to solve an issue. And so what are those other options? Sure.
Mayor Biss?
By rule, the Rules Committee makes appointments to the standing committees, including the Referrals Committee. If the Rules Committee thinks that the current representation of the Referrals Committee is inadequately representative, it's up to, this body can change that at the drop of a hat.
Well, then, I think that's part of what Councilmember Burns was referring to, that we had this discussion where we would bring back to this committee a rotation schedule. So with that, I would like to move that we maybe table this and have it come back as a rotation schedule for the next regularly scheduled for the, I guess, February meeting. Or I guess we have a January meeting, so I guess the January meeting.
Okay, there's a motion on Councilmember Burns.
Yeah, and some of this was already stated by Councilman Reed, but again, the referrals committee can determine venue, which is what Councilman Reed said. If it was straightforward, if that decision is straightforward, it wouldn't require a committee. So the fact that a committee exists suggests that there's some deliberation between the members of the body in making that determination. If there's nothing to deliberate on, then I would submit that there's no reason for the committee itself. So clearly we felt that there was a need, a majority of us felt there was a need to deliberate over that issue. And in addition to that, as Councilman Reed stated, that some referrals have been held at committee, which prolong, they're them being put on a future agenda, which prolongs our discussion on it and the vote and its implementation, whatever the referral may be. in addition to that, there are recommendations made as to when something will appear that I think chairs certainly reference and weigh as they make a decision about what to put on the agenda. So there is real work there. And if there wasn't, we wouldn't have a committee. And I can pull this up in between meetings, but I'm pretty confident that that at this meeting, we were supposed to see a schedule of a referrals committee. And what a question I have is there any other committee that doesn't have a schedule or rotation schedule, or a member is not allowed to determine whether or not they want to participate in that committee once it's established? The other ones were established, so we did it at our first rules committee meeting. We all selected the committees we wanted to sit on, and I don't see a schedule for the referrals committee, nor was there an open call that allowed committee members or council members to raise their hand and say, yep, I want to sit on this committee. So unless people can provide another example of such a committee, I think, again, creating a schedule, which is what we were supposed to have on the agenda today to discuss, is the way to move forward. Along with, I thought we were also considering whether or not to make it a hard and fast rule that each referral will require two co-sponsors.
Councilmember Reed.
Yeah, I'll respond to that in interest of time. There isn't another committee that, so most committees do not have a rotation schedule as far as their membership, but we've always allowed anyone to serve on any committee that they want to. And we've even changed ordinances to expand membership, to decrease membership when fewer members want to be on a committee. So we've certainly made that option available. And so there isn't a committee that I can think of, and please correct me if anybody has something different, but that doesn't allow folks to join or have a rotation schedule set up for membership. So I would like to move to table this unless folks are prepared to vote on this and expand the membership. Or have a rotation, or maybe we just don't need a referrals committee, and Mayor Biss and Councilmember Revelle and Suffredin can save a little bit of time on Thursday mornings, I think is when you all meet, and we can make it administrative.
Council Cummings.
I just want to remind the committee, from a legislative history standpoint, referrals used to go through the city manager's office originally, and there was a feeling that the city manager should not dictate what goes on the agenda, even if it is an administrative thing. What goes on an agenda is an administrative thing, and it would be in the purview of the city manager's office, but this body felt that it should be more of a legislative function, if the legislature should determine what goes on legislative agendas. So we have part of the reason why the referrals committee was created was for that purpose, and I just wanted to remind this body of that.
Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
Sure, Councilmember Reed.
Thank you. I agree, and I think if whatever we choose to do, if we were to move down a route where maybe we don't need a referrals committee, we can save some staff time and some time for the committee members, it would still be a legislative choice. I mean, the council member would say, hey, I think this is appropriate for, human services, for the rules committee, whatever, and the committee members, if they think it's not appropriate or someone wants to see it at another venue, could make a motion to refer it to that venue. We've done that with items in the past. And so we'd still have that legislative control. And I think the big thing, and I think that Mayor Biss deserves credit for this, is actually just creating the list, a transparent place where you can see all of the referrals that are made, where the council member wanted the committee or wanted the referral to go, where it is in the process. I think that's achieves maybe 100% of the goal, maybe 80% of the goal. We can talk about percentage, but I think that gets us most of the way there.
I just want to add, I have a referral coming through the referrals list to add transparency to the process. So I talked to the Equity Empowerment Commission and had some feedback that, and talking to them about the equity scorecard, and how, they felt like sometimes things came to council before they, knew how far along the process it was. So my referral is to add a agenda item on a monthly basis to the Equity and Power Committee to give them, transparency to what we're doing, and also help them potentially flag things to give them priority, or flag things that need an equity scorecard added to. So I don't know if that would, I hope that would help the process for people, but just want to make people aware of that. So seeing we have we have, is that Councilmember Burns?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would like to hear from my colleagues if they are interested in commenting on this. But again, I see a benefit to having the referrals committee. At this rules committee meeting, we were supposed to look at a schedule, a rotation schedule. And so I want to, I'd love to hear from my colleagues if I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's what we are supposed to be discussing today. That, and as well as the hard and fast rule that will require 2 council members for every referral. I think we've kind of gotten off of that, but that's what we were supposed to be discussing at this meeting.
Council Cummings.
I just wanted to ask the chair, did you recognize Councilmember Reed's motion to table? And if so, was there a second? I'm trying to keep track.
I withdraw it. If there's no need to recognize it.
All right, sorry, thanks.
Are there any motions on the table right now? If so, are we ready to?
I think I'd like to table this because I do think we should come back with a rotation schedule. I think we should look at this. I'm looking at Bobby, you're not here in the room, but I'm looking at some faces, and not all of them are pleasant faces on this. So faces are pleasant, but so I'd move to table this until our next meeting.
Okay, there's a motion to table. Are there any seconds?
Second. I guess I'll second and then discuss the rest of it. But yeah, second.
Okay, so the motion is to table this item until the January meeting? Or
Whatever the next meeting is.
okay, great.
The council chambers video is muted. We can't hear anything.
Okay,
We
we're not
weren't
talking
talking.
right now.
Okay.
So is there any discussion about the motion to table?
The
Councilmember?
motion to table is not debatable.
It's not debatable. Okay. So, let us move along then.
No, you have to vote on the table.
Vote on the table. Okay.
Councilmember Kelly? Councilmember Harris? Councilmember Nusma?
No.
Councilmember Burns?
Aye.
Councilmember Sufferton?
No.
Councilmember Ravel?
No,
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Harris?
No.
Mayor Biss?
No.
Okay, the motion does not pass. I guess we will now vote on the ordinance as written.
You ready? Mayor Biss?
No.
Councilmember Harris?
No.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Ravel?
no,
Councilmember Sufferton?
No.
Councilmember Burns?
No.
Councilmember Nusma?
No.
Councilmember Harris? Councilmember Kelly?
The
And
ordinance
those
does
have
not
it.
pass. Okay. So moving on to items for discussion. Would someone like to move the item?
Mr. Chair, I move item D1, Evanston Small Donor Democracy Matching System for Fair Elections.
Second.
Okay, we have any discussion? Councilmember Reed.
I fully support small donor match. Or I prefer, my preference is a system closer to some other municipalities that do democracy vouchers. Democracy vouchers are, you give residents, $50, $100 vouchers that they can give to the candidates of their choice. And those small, I look at two things. So what problem are we trying to solve here? We know that there's, too much money in our democracy, and that typically the person who has the most resources, has the most money, is able to be successful in elections. And we want to level the playing field. I think that's the goal here, to level the playing field. And so, I think a small donor match system does help level the playing field to some degree, or although it could, potentially bolster folks who already had access to resources, because we're matching funds as opposed to providing funds. But with the voucher system, it's also been shown to help increase voter turnout amongst low propensity voters. And so, for a very similar price, we can ensure that we are increasing we can work to increase voter turnout in minority communities, in low-income communities, communities that have low propensity to vote. And so while I support a small donor matching system, I think that might be better suited for either just the mayoral race or for larger state or federal elections. I think here locally, we see that for the most part, aldermanic candidates raise $15,000, $25,000 for their races. So we don't have huge expenditures in the aldermanic races, and for the mayoral races, we've seen, usually somewhere around 100,000, maybe a little more than 100,000 is what it takes to be a successful mayoral candidate. And so I think certainly there we need to level the playing field.
Great. So this is my referral. I would like for us to table it until the February meeting of the Rules Committee. There's a couple things that we have to update and amend on the, remove some referrals to primaries, since we'll be moving forward with ranked choice voting. So I would move to table this discussion. Mayor Biss?
Mr. Chair, I move that this be tabled until the February meeting of the Rules Committee, and that it appear on the February agenda for action.
Second.
Sure. All right, we have a second. Can we?
Call the roll.
Well, if it's non-debatable.
Go ahead. Councilmember Kelly? Councilmember Harris? Councilmember Nusma?
Aye.
Councilmember Burns? I'll come back. Okay. Councilmember Sufferton?
Aye.
Councilmember Ravel?
Aye.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Herrick Harris?
Aye.
Mayor Biss? Aye. The ayes have it.
Great. Move along. I guess we are at the end of our agenda. Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Great. We have a second. Can we take the roll?
You can do all those in favor.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right. So for everyone following along online, Human Services will start at precisely 6 o'clock.